Take a second to subscribe to Times of Wrestling Podcast on YouTube and hit that bell notification.
What's up, everybody? This is Times of Wrestling Podcast with our special guest, Eric Novak, aka All Real Wrestling Podcast. And today we'll be basically talking about Slammiversary, the EC3 rumors that are now true, and a lot of things. And also the interviewing business with interviewing wrestlers from all over the AEW and Impact and Ring of Honor and independent wrestlers too. So this is going to be fun. And yeah, let's go. So we're going to be sharing our screen. And that's going to be sharing our screen. Let me go to it. So first up, this is our podcast show, Times of Wrestling Podcast on Instagram. If you see down below, this is our link to our YouTube. Please get us up to 20, 30 subscribers by tonight, please. It would be really appreciated. We post so many things. Earlier, we just posted how to get our famous wrestlers to respond back and follow you. So please go check that out, everybody that's going to be watching. This will be posted on YouTube and Instagram, 1-minute clip on Instagram. And yeah, then we're going to be going to ARWP, which is All Real Wrestling Podcast, with their owner and host, Eric Novak. This is also one of the best podcasts for interviewing and talking about everything wrestling. They have 3,000 and also 3,000 followers, and they also, just like us, have their YouTube down below. And how many followers do you guys have on YouTube?
YouTube, we're around right now 580 subscribers.
Yeah, so get them up to 600 and even 1,000. If it's yeah,
right,
so get them up to that. Yeah, so we're gonna stop the share, and basically, like I said before, we'll start off with the EC3 stuff. So easily, we were all talking about this yesterday. If you guys checked it out, the podcast yesterday with Crash and Burn, EC3 was supposed to go to Impact or AEW. It was a 50-50 shot. He released his promo trailer to where he was going, and a lot of people were saying, especially me, I thought, that EC3, the building he was standing on, the roof, was in fact in Jacksonville, and the ring he was at was in Jacksonville. But of course, I was wrong, and he appeared on a video for Impact Wrestling. So what are your thoughts on that, Eric?
So what I've been realizing in the coming months, Slammiversary's been promoting, is that there's a lot of trolls, like the whole Kurt Hawkins and Matt Cardona thing. I mean, Brian Myers and Matt Cardona, they all said that the 18th they're gonna also do something, and not a lot of people done anything. I think EC3. Here's my issue. Some fan, one of my fans, which is also a good friend of mine, messaged me yesterday talking about how they're bummed that EC3 is on Impact, and that they expect them to be on AEW, just like you guys did. But my issue with EC3 going to AEW is they would have had no storyline for him to go to. He told me that he could have done the whole Dean Ambrose not giving him a good rivalry, and that it's Dean Ambrose's fault. His dreams didn't work out and all that. But then you're talking about a different character, a different role, and you have to bring up WWE, which is should never be a storyline, Jericho didn't do it with Moxley at all. They only talked about one of their matches, not their entire rivalry, So for me, EC3 would have been a wild card. You put him in there, and then what would you have done with him would be the issue. For Impact, now that we officially see that he'll be on this Tuesday for Impact. We know that EC3 had a huge storyline, how he was the prince of Impact because, he's got family in big places, and that he's the head of the throne and all that. So now EC3 is coming. He's coming to get back what's his. That's his home. Impact is his territory. That's what he marked as his own. So now when he comes back there, it's he never left. It's EC3 would never debut in NXT and all that because EC3's character, his biggest storyline, his biggest popularity came from Impact Wrestling.
Yeah. So, I'd have to disagree and also agree with that. Yes, there wouldn't be a storyline for it, but him and MJF, which is Maxwell Freeman, they both are pretty common. Both they play the role as well, and being the kings of AEW, being great wrestlers. And they're both very cocky. You could both say they're the Miz of wrestling, like Miz or Chris Jericho, like comparisons. And I think because if you look at going into the Dynamite thing, you could see that Cody Rhodes Cody Rhodes has an open challenge match, and so does MJF. So people were speculating, oh, that's probably EC3 and Matt Cardona coming into AEW as an open challenge match and surprising everybody. But yeah, I mean they definitely have a storyline for him. It would either be against Cody or against MJF. I don't think they'd. I mean, it's possible they could put it against John Moxley, aka Dean Ambrose. I mean, I don't know why they would do that after he went against Brian Cage, but you don't know. Jordan, what are your thoughts on this?
I mean, basically, I just think that EC3 in AEW, it would be a fresh start, because in AEW, it's a first for everything because they're a very young company and they've only been around for about a year and a half. And, when I see him in AEW, I just see a fresh start. But when I see him going back to Impact, you got to think he's been fired twice from Impact for nothing. He's been fired from WWE twice for nothing in just 1 decade. So you got to think, was it really the right choice? Because he could have been offered a lot more money in AEW than Impact because AEW does have a lot more money than Impact Wrestling, along with Impact doesn't also have as much they're not known for a lot of talent in the last couple of years because they have only had like a few people being noticed in the last couple of years. But in AEW, it's only been a year and a half, and their entire roster who were nobodies in other companies are now being noticed and are champions. So you would think he would probably become a champion in AEW.
Yeah. Let's move from this. We could be now. We're going to talk about Impact still, but a different topic on it. Slammiversary. We did see Chris Bay, the finesser, win the new X Division championship. He won the championship for the X Division. And we also got to see Free Agent, and his merch is out now. The Free Agent Heath, which is now going by Heath, not Heath Slater. For you people that might get confused, he is now going by Heath, and he made a surprise appearance. And what are your thoughts on this? What do you think what were you going through when you saw him attack? I don't know how to pronounce his name. What do you think? What do you think that meant? What was the meaning of attacking him? What do you guys think?
Well, Eric's not in here. Well, you try to resolve that. I'll go ahead and say this. Oh, he's back. I just think
Jordan, you want to repeat that? I'll repeat it. Wait.
Yeah.
Eric, what was the last thing you heard?
Okay, so I heard that you guys said that he got fired twice from Impact. He got fired twice from WWE, and then from there everything got laggy.
Okay, so yeah, I'll just restart. So going off this topic, we're going on to Impact still, but Slammiversary. We did see Chris Bay, the finesser, win the X Division championship, which was really big for him. I mean, working that hard and getting the title, well deserved. And then we saw the free agent Heath going by Heath now instead of Heath Slater. Not that confusing, but for some people that are confused, please don't be confused anymore. He attacked and made a big statement in the Impact to Impact backstage to everybody, including EC3 that is going to come. That you need to be taught a lesson, and everybody needs to watch out by attacking. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Sorry, everybody.
Rohit Raju.
Yeah, by attacking him. What a big man, too. And a skinny Heath Slater, which is Heath now, attacks him. What are your thoughts on this? What was this meaning to you guys?
No,
no, you go ahead.
No, go. You can go first. Go first.
No, you're the guest. Go right ahead. I'm sorry.
All right. So I'm gonna break it into parts. So for the Heath part, I'm a big Heath fan only because I like the guys that are usually not really put over in WWE. Like, it's very hard to see good talent when they're being, scrubbed for the jobber list. And to see him come back and be the surprise, reveal that he came through, in the middle of the ring and all that, it's interesting. It's awesome. But it's also he in the back, there was a segment where he went to the backstage and you saw Rhino And now you're wondering where they're going to put him. Are they going to put him back
Yeah.
in the tag team? Are they going to put him back in singles action? It's very hard when it comes to someone that, like, you're putting a lot of money into this. Like, you're taking a risk because fans may like you. You might be talented, but a lot of people haven't really seen what you could do. You know, like, that's the issue with it. So looking at it from that, perception, it's very hard to see if fans will really put over Heath against people like EC3, people like, Eddie Edwards. It's really difficult to see how that will work out.
Yeah, just like Jordan, I'll let you talk in a second. Sorry, I just need to add on to this.
It's all good.
It's really sad. I don't want to like slash or WWE because I know we have a lot of fans. I think like 25% like WWE a lot, so I don't want to slash them, but I might have to. I mean, it's really sad that now we look at a wrestler, a guy that's been working to wrestling for, I don't know, like 5, 6, 7, I don't know how many years, but a lot. Like that's
For
a
a
lot.
decade.
Like months and months and months of putting in work to get better at it. And WWE sets the standard of him just being a backstage guy, a guy that never wins matches. And it's sad because every single wrestler is good. I mean, they barely used Cody Rhodes and they put him as Stardust. They barely used him. And now look at him. He's a TNT champion. So it's sad how they put Heath at this standard. And now how's it going to look when he wins matches? Like, it's going to look weird to a lot of people. And of course, it's definitely going to look weird to me. I'm like, WWE just sets the standard for them. And also adding on to what you said, Eric, I don't think the last time I watched WWE, which is a while ago, I only saw Rhino in a tag team. I never really saw him in a single competition. Like, I never saw him in singles. So that would be really interesting to see him in the singles matches because he's a big guy. He's really built. He's definitely got some high flying ability. He knows how to get through the ring. He knows how to beat some guys up. Definitely, he knows how to win. And I mean, I wouldn't want to say this because it's controversial, but I think Heath brought him down. I mean, Heath definitely brought him down. Rhino didn't live up to his full potential because of Heath, and he was in a tag team, a bad tag team. They won titles, but it wasn't the best. So I mean, seeing them both in singles match, like in the singles is going to be really weird. But I'm really excited for both of it because we're going to see what Heath is made of. We're also going to see what Rhino is finally made of. And you know what? It's going to hurt a little bit to see them go against each other if they do that backstage. So yeah.
All right. My thoughts on Heath coming to Impact Wrestling. I think it was a smart choice. I mean, there were some rumors of him going to AEW, but it will be surprising to me to see him win a lot more matches because, as you guys said, in WWE, they just held him back. They held him as like a jobber, and jobbers usually lose all the matches. And now that he's in Impact Wrestling, I think he has more of a chance, to get wins and possibly even become a number one contender for the X Division Championship or the Impact World Championship. He has opportunities that WWE never thought of giving him because in the past he was in a faction called Nexus. In the past he was in a tag team with Drew Galloway or Drew McIntyre, however you want to say it.
Yeah.
And now he actually has a real opportunity to become a champion in Impact Wrestling. So I just think it was a smart move for him to sign with them.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't really want to. I didn't watch all of Slammiversary. Eric, did you watch Slammiversary?
Yeah, I had to. Like, I wanted to bring this up, and I, if I could do it now, I would love to.
Yeah.
You guys could bring up Chris Bay. You brought up X Division. This is what's amazing about how we interview wrestlers. I remember. I'm gonna tell you guys a quick story. It's gonna be a short one. I went for my birthday to Austin to A-Town Beatdown, and I didn't know who Chris Bay really was at the time. He was fighting for FSW, that's a promotion in Vegas, amazing talent. And I see him there against Daga, and he had that famous match against Daga where he picked up an amazing victory. And I see him after the show. He's just like one of the fans on his phone, just sitting by the entrance. And I go to him and say, you're awesome, man. And I hope one day I can interview you. And he's like, where are you from? I'm like, I'm from Brooklyn. He's like, for Rebellion, I'll be there. We'll do a live interview. As of, right now, with the pandemic and all that did not work out. But during Rebellion, he still managed to pull through, and we did it through phone call. And it's amazing to hear him. Like, if you guys ever are interested, you can watch that on YouTube, my interview with him, and hear what he says about Impact and look at where he is now and how everything he said, every goal he set aside, he literally accomplished. And I had to, even if it was a short victory, even if he would have lost, even if there was something, I just had to watch, and I had to have a bottle of champagne with my team ready to celebrate if he won. And he did. We messaged him. He thanked us. And from there, you know, we're just happy that he now holds the finesse division in lockdown.
Yeah, no, I did. I was looking back because you really inspired us to do these interviews, and all of that. So thank you for that. Thank you for inspiring us to do that.
Thank you so much.
And I looked back at your account because I was looking down, seeing everybody you interviewed, like Brian Cage. That's humongous, man. Like interviewing Brian Cage, it's huge. T.J. Perkins. And I looked down, and I'm like, wow, dude, Chris Bay. I mean, I don't want to be mean, but Chris Bay was like, a lot of people didn't know him, and now you're interviewing, and same as Brian Cage. I mean, Brian Cage is pretty big, but like not a lot of people knew him before, like before him going against John Moxley. That really boosted up his media, and you interviewing like Brian Cage and Chris Bay, which a champion and was a champion, for the what is it AWP or what is it what was the championship he was holding, Jordan, like for 2 days?
For 2 days.
From Taz.
From
FTW? FTR championship?
Yeah, sorry.
FTW.
Totally.
FTW.
Yeah, holding that title, and then also probably gonna get a title soon. That's just really impressive, man. And your podcast and the story you told me I want to watch Chris Bay now. I want to like look at so many Impact things. And to be honest, I did not watch AEW. Like this is the only month I've been watching AEW because I didn't even know what AEW was 4 weeks ago.
And I drove you out of your mind.
Yeah, Jordan for every single day for like 2 weeks was telling me, dude, because I loved WWE. Like when it was in its prime, like 2010, 2014, 2015, when John Cena was still like big there. He is still big, but like when he was actually wrestling in his prime, The Rock, when Bray Wyatt was just entering, I really like that. And he's like, man, these guys are allowed to curse. They're allowed to do whatever they want. They don't care. Tony Khan does not care. And just like they go off right when I heard him say they go off script. I'm like, dude, I'm watching that. And now look at it. I really like it. And you know what? I didn't even know what Impact was 2 or 3 weeks ago. Now I'm gonna start watching it. Same for Ring of Honor, and that's just it's how your story impacts me now. I'm gonna watch Chris.
Yeah,
that's awesome to hear, and you know it's crazy because I'm too, just like you guys. You know, I'm a wrestling fan, and it took me a long time, and I don't want like Ben to get the wrong approach. You know, WWE is always home for everyone. You can't say you're a wrestling fan without saying, you know, WWE is the one that's made you become a wrestling fan. Because that's, at the end of the day, how people became wrestling fans. Yeah. But with the nowadays, with the product that we're getting, it's just getting hard. Like, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I catch up with it because it's news and it's, you know, my hobby. But I don't watch the product. I can't watch SmackDown. And as of right now, Extreme Rules is going on. And I saw pictures of what they did with Rey Mysterio. And I just think it's insulting because, he's a veteran. He deserves so much more than what they're giving him. But, like you guys talked about, how Brian Cage, about AEW, there's so much out there. Like, if you guys have never seen Lucha Underground, and that's what I bring up with Brian Cage.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that.
Oh, yeah, I've watched that a few times.
Yeah, because that's the first time I ever witnessed Brian Cage in wrestling, and that was in Lucha Underground, and that is literally something else. It's wrestling, but it's also like it's acting, it's storyline, it's television. It's crazy how they do it. No wrestling will ever be, and it's funny because when I had interviews with Brian Cage or Matt Cross, who played Son of Havoc, they would say the same thing. How they would jump aboard if there was ever a phone call to go back, and they would never change anything about it because of how interesting or spectacular that was.
Yeah, but going off what you said, I mean, like you said again, I'm gonna say that twice. Sorry. WWE is home for everybody. I mean, you don't even have to like wrestling. I remember I got into WWE because my brother was into it, and then I started watching clips of Shawn Michaels and then Zack Ryder, which is Matt Cardona, which I'm so hooked on now. And it was really good, man. The storytelling. I mean, Vince was listening to everybody, the switch ups, all the new wrestlers coming in, and I think it got ruined. And I have to totally agree with you on two parts. Rey Mysterio, what they're doing with Rey Mysterio is horrible. I mean, bringing his son into this, I didn't like.
Mhm.
Him going against Brock Lesnar. I mean, if John Cena is losing to Brock Lesnar, and then what do you think is going to happen to Rey Mysterio? I mean, he's going to have to hit like probably 50 619s to get Brock Lesnar into a 1 count. So, I mean, and also what they're doing, I feel like they're definitely stealing a lot of content out of AW. I mean, the
Mhm.
I thing with Seth, or is it
Yeah.
Seth and Ray? Santana and John Moxley did that.
Yeah.
That kind of got me really pissed off. And also going on another podcast said, what are they gonna do? Like an eye for like. Of course they're gonna have Rey Mysterio win. What's gonna happen if he doesn't win? I mean, he's gonna have two lost
Mhm.
eyes, and of course he's not gonna have a lost eye. We know at the end of the day he's gonna see in both eyes. But like at WWE, what is he gonna be, like a wise man, like a wise man, like a blind
You
man? Like,
you guys do know that Rey Mysterio's contract ended, I believe, a week ago, and Vince basically begged them as like a favor to just participate in Extreme.
Oh yeah, I definitely heard about that. I also heard that AEW might be able to calendar and give Rey Mysterio what he would want, so he would sign with AEW, and they're actually in talks right now.
yeah, no.
There's just an issue with that, and I do want to open up to the
Mhm.
wrestling universe why there's
Yeah.
an issue with that. Rey Mysterio doesn't care about his career anymore, and he said it multiple times. He's like, "My career is done. I can retire any day now." He's trying to open doors for his son, and since he's got a friendship with WWE, I don't think he's gonna sign with AEW because Vince McMahon already basically had faith in him not to sign for a week already. Like he could have easily. This was amazing because I heard this from Rey Mysterio himself on an interview. It was one of those radio calls, and he goes, "I could have easily signed a week ago, but Vince still put me in this match, knowing that my contract is completely done because he has full faith that I'm going to stay with the company." It's very hard to be like what Chris Jericho did. Chris Jericho is a businessman who works very hard to become a legend. Rey
Mhm.
Mysterio, I don't think he is looking for that page in his life anymore. I think he's done. And I think all he cares about is his son. So at the end of the day, everything that's happening with his son, everything that's happening with the segments, that's all Rey Mysterio just giving it to his son.
Yeah, no, I'm
Mhm.
happy with that, and I see a lot of potential in his son. Like all of that, I see it. Getting like 3 F5s from Brock Lesnar, and still
Disrespectful.
getting up at the end of the day. That's really impressive for like a kid his age too. Like that's really impressive. But also, like, yeah, his contract's up. I definitely don't think he's gonna stay with WWE. But but again, if there's any chance he wants his son to get signed to WWE, which is I'm not happy saying it's still the biggest wrestling company in the
Mhm.
pro wrestling industry. I mean, if he wants him to be in WWE, he's gonna have to stay with WWE. I don't think unless he wants his son at AEW, but yeah, I mean, I don't. Yeah, a lot of contracts go up. Heath Slater's contract. We'll call him Heath Slater, but his name's not Heath. Heath Slater's contract was up, and he still appeared at I think it's SmackDown with Drew McIntyre. So I mean, like Vince has
It was Raw.
over every single wrestler. It's Raw. It was Raw.
Yeah, it was Raw.
Okay, sorry. No, I don't watch WWE anymore. So
No, man, there's that's not that, that's perfectly fine because, like I said, I literally haven't been watching, and the only reason why I know what you're talking about is because he basically said that he hated the way he ended it, and he didn't care what money they'd offer him. He just wanted to end it on a clean note, and technically it was, even though he lost, he's still like Drew McIntyre had his back apparently, so like he technically won with the fans and won with the crowd, but like
yeah.
it was just a farewell kind of thing.
Yeah, no.
Mhm.
I mean, I just want to go on like background, and you guys could go on your backgrounds on too. But like people just say to me all the time, like people tell me and the other things like, why don't you like "Oh, WWE, why are you slashing them so much?" I don't like. I'll give you a backstory on this. I don't like WWE at all. Like, I mean, starting off with like releasing that many wrestlers, I get that coronavirus. Vince can't pay that many people, but also he got into himself into that mess. Signing 200 people and only using 20 is not acceptable at all. You're putting people in backstage every single week and not even
Mhm.
having them home and still paying them. First off, it's a waste of money. Second off, they trained for years and years. Some of the people backstage 10 to 15 years, and you're not even using them because of their age, because they're not in the story. And another thing is Vince does not listen to anybody. People from WWE that used to work at WWE have released it. He does not listen to anybody. If you have a good storyline, he does not listen to it. He only makes up the idea, or if somebody has an idea, he literally changes one word to the idea and makes it his. And I mean,
Yeah.
that's why I don't like WWE. I mean, it was a very good company. You can't get me wrong with that. It was so good. Like that show,
Yeah.
everybody was hooked on. You would get. I bet you if you went to an elementary school 10 years ago, you'd see so many WWE book bags. It was
Mhm.
insane.
Yeah.
And so now, I mean, with AW, with Impact, I mean, this is another thing. WWE is taking all their content away. Like they're literally taking Vince is taking every single idea from both of them and using it into his, and they're
Yeah.
definitely decreasing. I mean, they still get millions of views, but they're decreasing. Like they're going down in views. But that's exactly why I don't like them. They play as a horrible company. They overpay wrestlers when they don't wrestle. They underpay wrestlers when they do wrestle, and
Mhm.
Vince begs on his hands and knees to people to stay for like a week or two, and that's just not acceptable as an owner, as a company. You shouldn't allow him to do that. And I don't want to be mean. I don't want to be mean at all. This is kind of harsh. But when Vince retires or passes away or anything like that, what are they going to do with the company? I mean, Vince has been in that company for like how
His
many
whole
years?
life.
Yeah, his whole
because
life.
because his father was the original owner of what it's become now, and on numerous occasions, Vince, he's really Vince McMahon Jr. He said his father, Vince McMahon Sr., would be disappointed about the product he has turned this into because originally it was all old school with his father, and now
Yeah.
ever since Vince Jr. took over, it's just gone down.
Yeah,
From
I
what
mean,
I can see.
I really want Vince to retire or anything else for him to get out of the company because putting it into the hands into the Triple H or somebody else would be so great. I mean, I would love to see that. And they have so many good ideas, and Vince is kind of bringing the company down. But also, we might be wrong. He might be bringing the company up, and when he does leave, the company will be down in the shreds. I mean, they definitely have a lot of money in their hands. Vince is like, I think what is it, billions of dollars he has, Jordan?
Yeah, like 4 billion.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of money. And unless he lays it down to his son-in-law or Stephanie, then I don't know what they're going to do. Or his son. Um, I don't know. But definitely on what you said, Eric, that company is definitely, we don't watch it for a reason.
Yeah, and my thoughts on not watching WWE, like of course, I used to annoy Trent when we were in elementary school, and all I would try to do, we would try to act like the wrestlers, and like every other elementary kid would do. And ever since like 2017, 2018, it's just been boring. It's been like repeat every week. Like they never come up with really any new matches. It's like these past couple episodes on these past couple weeks on Raw and or SmackDown. Anytime I turn on Fox, which is what SmackDown is on now, or USA, all I just see is the same thing because I look at least once every week, and all I'm seeing is like the same thing over and over again. And I just keep thinking to myself, I'm so happy that AEW came back. I'm so happy that Impact finally came to a channel I can watch again. And I'm just so happy that I'm hearing of these two companies along with Ring of Honor, and I'm hearing about all these indie wrestlers. Because if it was just WWE at the top and nobody else at the bottom, like right next to them, I probably wouldn't even be a wrestling fan anymore. And I think Trent would have never gotten into wrestling if it was just WWE. And I'm sure it's the same thing for you, Eric.
No, yeah, it 100% is. Just like about 2017, 2018, me and my former co-host Jason, who's also one of my best friends, we talk about it all the time. How it's like 2016 was the best year for wrestling, and then everything from there, went downhill slowly.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't, bookings. It also was talent. Like you can love someone like Ricochet. You can look at him, you can be like, this guy is money. But when you watch him lose to Brock Lesnar in less than a 10-minute match, you don't want to vote for that. Like it's not like I want the guys that win type of thing. It's the type that's like, I don't want this guy to be champion, like after that and then in the future see him become champion. It's very weird. Just like how it is for me watching Drew McIntyre. If you're an old time fan, you remember Drew McIntyre when he was like the prodigal son, when he was losing so many matches, and he was like the youngest and the biggest in that locker room, and now he's literally a behemoth monster and he's demolishing it. And you're like thinking to yourself, I remember watching this guy when he was at his his point where he didn't really do much, and it's such a weird feeling to see how everything is being shifted. That's why it's so hard with the bookings, with the talent. And you could blame Vince McMahon, which I necessarily don't blame you. It could be a lot of Vince McMahon because he gets the final approval. And he's very hard to work with, said a lot of wrestlers. But I don't think, he's fully on top of everything, Like, I feel like New Day segments, I feel like a lot of other segments are done by creators. I remember Moxley was giving an interview on Y2J's podcast, podcast. And it was like, the creative team gave me this stuff, and I went to them and told me to go to Vince. It's like Vince approves of what the creative team does. So at the end of the day, they just need a new creative team, and that's the whole point about firing 30 talent, firing 20% of creative, and then firing people that are there for you, like Kurt Angle when you need them to. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So we're at.
I think we have one more topic to talk about.
Yeah, no, we're at 30 minutes, so we could talk for like another 20, 25, maybe shorter. So I'm just gonna state this. I'm not gonna make any comment on it because I do want to talk about I'm just gonna release the result, some of the results, but we're not gonna talk on any of it, because I want to go into the interviewing stuff. But we did have, which is very stupid. That's all I'm gonna say about this. Rey Mysterio lose to Seth Rollins, and he also vomited after in front of like live television. You had Bayley pin or tap for Sasha Banks, and Sasha Banks won the Raw Women's Championship. You had Drew McIntyre beat Dolph Ziggler, and then you had, I think it was Braun. Let me see. Braun Strowman was set on fire. Oh, yeah. Sorry, guys. I was just checking it. So The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, has won the match and set Braun Strowman literally on fire, which I don't know how they were allowed to do that. But, yeah, what a sick company. Letting a 5'6" man throw up and a 7-foot man burn. Let's go into the interviews. Sorry, guys. I know you guys want to comment on all of this, but,
It's all good.
Yeah. So, yeah, I do too. Yeah, so I'm just going to go down the ARWP just to check out the many people he interviewed. But talking about all of that, you've met many people. I mean, I think the biggest person what was I going to say? You interviewed and met is TJ Perkins. Like, what a big experience for you, wasn't that?
So I don't know if I posted that or didn't, but my closest friends or like anyone that like sees me on a basic knows that the person who got me into wrestling, the person who I immediately fell in love with and immediately got into wrestling was Manic from Impact. Some of you guys might not know that because that was 2015 Impact, but it is TJP, formerly known as TJ Perkins, TJP. And let me tell you something about TJP, since we're bringing it up. By far, the greatest guy that, from knowing him for at least 2 years now, I call him a good friend of mine because we tweet all the time. Once in a while, I would DM him, and he would DM me back when he's, in the area. Like, he has a New York show. He'd meet me before or after the show, and we just talk for a while. He is one of the greatest guys, and I'm just so proud that he was my idol in wrestling. And not only, did I meet him or interview him, he's a close friend of mine, and that he will be the first. That's the official. I won't interview anyone live until I interview him live.
Yeah, that's really again, I'm gonna say this again. That's very inspirational. That inspired us. I mean, seeing you meet all these guys, do interviews with them, giving us your Chris Bass story, and all of that. That's really inspirational. So I have a big question. This is like the question I wanted to ask because I wanted to get you on tonight immediately. So I wanted to ask the question: how did you get Brian Cage on your podcast?
All right, so how this is the awesome thing about the world and social media and everything. So I'm a big figure collector. I've collected Mattel, Jax, LJN, anything wrestling related I've got. And one of my bros, and I want to call him like one of my closest social media bros. His name is DWO Customs. He has his own custom figure line. He made me it's funny TJP Customs. He made me Ricochet. He made me so many guys. And one day, I finally told him at the podcast. I don't know, it was during the pandemic, and I didn't have the money or the time to order a new custom. So we haven't spoken in a minute. So when I called him up, I was like, "Hey man, want to purchase this off you? And if you haven't known, I already started a podcast. Want to check it out?" He immediately goes, "Yo, you got to get my friend on." And I'm over here to like, "Sure, I'll get your friend on. Who is it?" And he names me Brian Cage, and I'm like, "You're joking with me, right?" He was like, "No, man, why?" I'm like, "If you got Cage, then send me all the info." Hours later, he texts Cage because Cage buys figures from him.
That's
so
crazy.
It's really awesome. And from there, that all happened. Me and Cage spoke, and it's really hard. Like it wasn't. I DM'd Cage also months back, but like I said, like he's a really busy guy, so he didn't really get my DM until my friend messaged him. And I was like, "Bro, you just did me a huge solid." He's like, anything for you, man, anytime. And that's how powerful it is, Just like how, I became friends with TJP 2 years back, and then I got to Impact, and I met Falaba through there. So if I ever want to message Falaba, thanks to TJ, he introduced me to Fala. It's amazing how big the world is and how many people you can, communicate it and get connections with. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, that's insane, dude. Getting Brian Cage, that's huge, and definitely that's. Would you say that's like your top 3 biggest interview?
Top 3, of course. Yes, top 3.
Yeah. So I always, this is what I hate about interviews. I hate stealing like say you have somebody you're interviewing, and I hate posting on a story and just like saying we're interviewing that person, because it's happened with other like wrestling podcasts where it's like I feel like we're stealing. Like I feel like like.
Well, I'm gonna tell you guys this, and I don't know if you probably didn't know this, but I'm gonna tell you, if you've seen an interview posted by me, like let's say if I post something this Wednesday, I did it 2 or 3 weeks back. So you guys saw, I recently saw you guys got John Schuyler, and I interviewed him 2 weeks back. I did not post a video yet. I will when I have time with my editor. But it's amazing how it's like we're all getting connections to this, and I'm loving the fact that he's getting noticed. It's amazing to see specific wrestlers get all these podcasts, get all these interviews, because that means they're getting noticed, they're getting popular.
Yeah. So how was that interview? Because we're coming up on when are we interviewing him, Jordan?
I think we're interviewing him at on Friday at 3.
Yeah. So because we're how was the podcast?
It was awesome. He's a wrestling fan, so I wanted to originally interview him through questions about his AEW career and stuff like that. But that's not what they want to do. And I learned this, Brian Cage was kind of the reason why I learned this. They want to talk about their hobbies. They've done these podcasts millions of times, and they just want to talk about what their interests are. So it's really amazing how, we talked about some of his favorite wrestlers, and then we brought up our own conversation about like a controversy thing that happened in WWE, just like how we talked about how WWE usually
Mhm.
flips around. So sometimes things are good, sometimes things are bad. So we talked about, some things that we felt that we wanted to talk about, and it's amazing. It truly is phenomenal to just see how many connections you can get, like positive,
Mhm.
negative, And John Skyler, a guy who I didn't know about until AEW Dark, and probably you guys as well. I looked him
Yeah.
up, and I told this to him too. For 24 hours, almost, and then my entire night, I was just watching his matches on
Yeah,
YouTube.
that's what I did with. Did you see the interview with Fabio Andre?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, that's what I did. Because that was my first interview, and then of course the Anthony Ogogo one was a
That
really
That's
was mine.
amazing, by the way. I want to bring that up. You guys, that's amazing. I don't think I've
No.
seen anybody
Oh, sorry.
interview him yet. And watching I don't know if I watched it live. I don't think I did. I know it was on your Instagram story kind
Yeah.
of thing. I clicked on it, and it's amazing how you got him to speak, because he was a big topic for AEW, and then because of the pandemic, things shifted, and you guys were the first people to get him.
yeah.
And I praise
Yeah.
you.
I mean,
Wait,
for
wait,
me,
wait. Sorry, no.
sorry.
I just wanted to say this first off, because Jordan, you were really excited about this too, and Jordan
uh-huh.
really wanted to crack this code because Jordan and I like the big conspiracy theories. So a while back, somebody was supposed to debut in London. That's why Fighter Fest was in London. Did you know about that? Like the conspiracy theories about who was going there?
I actually did not hear about that. No.
Yeah. So Jordan thought Marty Skrull. I did not know who it was going to be because I wasn't in the AW. So we didn't know that, and nobody knew about this. Only the people backstage in AW probably. But little did anybody know, Anthony Ogogo, which is in England or London, I think, was supposed to debut, and probably against John Moxley or Cody at Fighter Fest. So that was humongous. I mean, getting that released to the public was huge, and I want more people to know about that.
I will tell you guys a secret cheat code kind of thing. Post a minute of that exact quote, like that exact conversation. Post 1 minute. I do it with my posts. Post it on Twitter. Tag him, and if he retweets it or likes it, I promise you a news article will pick that up immediately.
Wait, but we don't have Twitter. That's the
Oh,
problem.
I do actually.
And here's another thing. You guys should I'm no one to give advice to. I've been doing this for just a couple months, but what I've learned is that social media is a big deal, and that you need at least an Instagram and a Twitter, because Twitter is what a lot of podcasts use to get the information out.
Yeah,
Well,
Jordan, can you make
I
your
mean,
Twitter?
yeah, I can. And the reason why I'm just afraid to bring it back up is because I don't want him to sort of get in trouble, because I feel bad. Because, I wasn't even trying to ask that. I was, trying to get an estimate, from the past, when he was supposed to debut. I didn't think he was going to give me the actual, date or place. So I felt bad when he said that, because, yes, it was a surprise to us and our fans, and possibly even your fans if they watched us. And I just felt bad because I don't want him to get in trouble with Tony Khan or anything about that, because I don't think they were supposed to release that. But then again, it already passed, so I'm not sure. And yet again, they're going
hard. To help you out,
Yeah.
It is hard, but it was on Instagram Live, so it very is likely that someone already heard it and already told millions of people. Just hasn't. Here's the thing about that, and this is also something that I'm battling with. If you're a journalist and you want to get your name out there, if the typical kind of journalist you want to be, do you want to be the guy who, fends for themselves, or want to be the guy who cares about the wrestlers? And I know it's hard, and I'm not saying what you guys did was wrong or right. I'm saying that that's what we deal with on a daily. No one understands that side. You guys, I understand that, but no one that doesn't do podcasts like we do understand how difficult that is.
Yeah. I mean, of course, we know for a fact that was not supposed to be released. He was not supposed to say that, I think. And we weren't even trying to get that out of him. But the good thing about that is, your name gets spread around in the backstage area. I mean, Will Hobbs, which we're interviewing soon, will say, or this is an example. He could say, I'm going to be on a podcast. And John Skyler could say, same as me. And then it just spreads around. That's what's so good about, your podcast, our podcast. Things spread around. you getting interviews and then you're just talking about that and that and that. It spreads around, and we asked them to follow us. I mean, I don't think we asked them to follow us. They did.
Yeah, we do.
And I mean, it's cool. I mean, we get follows from what is it? Low Rider, Pabu Andre,
John Schuyler,
yeah, Preston Vance, which
Griff
is,
Garrison.
I mean, and you feel this feeling too. It's just so big to get like big people in like a community you love to follow you, and that's just really cool. And also, the thing about that is you go on their recommendation list. So like on
yeah, that's true. That is true.
recommendation. So that's another cool thing I really like. But yeah, what do you think? What do you think? Wait, no, sorry, I need to start this sentence all over again. How long did it take you to like? What was the shortest amount of time it took for you to get like a wrestler? Which wrestler was that?
So and again, like and I'm not, I don't want to repeat myself, but the fastest wrestler that was easy to get, simple, it would have to be TJ. I just DM'd him. An hour later, he responded, and from there we just did it. And I will tell you something about TJ. It was a 3-part interview. If you go on my YouTube, it's 3
No,
parts.
yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
almost an hour long. So during this entire podcast, we did 3 days of footage. We did 3 different days of like different footage, and at the end of the day, it didn't even feel like an interview; it just felt like a conversation. And I think by far that was probably my fastest interview, and also my longest talking interview ever.
Well, I don't know if a lot of podcasts do, but do you make money from these podcasts? Because a lot of people don't know if like a lot of people are scared to go into the podcast business because they don't make money. Does your group make money from these podcasts?
I will tell you what my team is, what our plans are. I will explain. So when you get 1K subscribers on YouTube, YouTube starts paying you. We don't know how much, but it is a value price. Like YouTube starts giving you some kind of money charges for the amount of views or the amount of subscribers you have or amount of whatever. And it's you got to spend money to make money. And I took this risk. This was all on my back. My team was there from the start, but no one really is putting the pen to paper. It's usually me, and I'm putting all my money into this. And at the end of the day, what happens is when I hit 1K subscribers, I will open up, a website. I'll get some merch going, and from there, you want to hope that the fans will help you. The fans that were there from the beginning will hopefully be the fans that'll keep you going to get more interviews. Because at the end of the day, it's not really for us. We're just journalists. We want to get the news out there to the fans. Like you guys got amazing information just now. Like you don't want to like you said, you don't want to post it on any kind of Twitter or whatever because you don't want to hurt the people. But that's the power of journalism. How we're doing this to help fans. Where we want to give fans the scoop. And I think wrestlers want that too, and it's all we're all in one community. We're all helping each other out because, like you said, wrestlers talk backstage. I know for a fact that if I go to another Impact venue and I see TJ or Chris Bay, they'll know me immediately, and from there, who knows where you'll be. At one point, and the person that inspired me was Chris Van Vliet, and he did commentary. He did ring announcing for wrestling promotions. The world is huge, and it all starts from you sitting on your computer and just working on interviews.
Yeah, so I think I still want to talk for a little. I don't know if you want to.
I love this conversation, guys. I'm enjoying this a lot.
Yeah, so I mean, Jordan, I'll give like, because we both have the same story how we started this podcast, and it's kind of like a little different. So then you could explain how you started with your podcast. So 6 weeks ago, we started. We started 3 weeks, 6 days ago. So we're about to hit 4 weeks of having this podcast, which we're just about to hit a month of like starting the podcast. So that's really big for us. When 6 weeks ago, 2 weeks before we started, I got into AEW, and of course, in this quarantine, this hard time for everybody, and I hope your family's safe, all your whole podcast is safe, everybody's safe,
I
all around
appreciate
you
that.
guys.
Thank you.
Um, during this quarantine, I was getting bored, like everybody else was getting bored, trying to find
Mhm.
things to do. We were hanging out, but it gets worse and worse down here, so we had to stay inside. And I remember asking Jordan one time. I asked him 3 times, but this first time I asked him, right when I got into AEW, like I turned it on just seeing like Cody, and I turned it off because I was too nervous to watch. And I'm like, Jordan, we should really start a podcast for AEW. And he's like, we're gonna go through the ups and downs of this. So he's like, no, we shouldn't really. I mean, no, I really don't want to do a podcast about like wrestling. A lot of people at the school might see it, and that's not going to be cool. And I agreed, totally agreed.
Mhm.
I'm like, yeah, that's not going to be cool. Um, and then I asked him again, I think a week later. I asked him 2 times. And he said, you know what? Maybe. I'll think about it. A couple hours later, he says, yeah, sure. Jordan, the co-host, starts the account, and he starts it. And okay, so I don't want to release this, but so Jordan and I, so when I had this in the first time, so I had this method of what I did. And we started this at first, and then we stopped because we knew how it was a scam. And I was really good at this because I always wanted followers. So what you do to hit like 500 followers easily is you follow. So we pressed on AEW and on different podcasts, and we followed every single person following them until we got followers. And our first follow, without even following her, was Shanna from AEW. So that was humongous.
Wait, and I think it was also when we were still AEW podcast. She
Yeah,
she probably thought we were AEW unrestricted
yeah.
because
So
AEW doesn't really have a Instagram or anything for that podcast. So I think at first we thought that, but then we changed it, and she still answered us on DMs after we changed it to Times of Wrestling.
yeah, so going on to that, the bumps and downs. Going on to that, we stopped at like 600 followers. We're like, let it grow by itself. We followed enough people. We don't want any more. And we hit 1,000. Stopped at like 900. We didn't follow anybody for like a good week and a half. Like nobody. Just let it grow. And it started growing and growing because people kept seeing it around. And Jordan thought of the idea. You know what? We really need to change the name because we could really get like in a lawsuit because AW Podcast has their name in it and we're not in that, so we could get in serious trouble if we do. Like,
And then again, other accounts also use the same thing. So we're both thinking, nah. But then we did start thinking like a little while later
yeah,
that we could possibly get in trouble. And yes, we're just a couple teenagers trying to boost up, the AEW world, and we think nah. But then we think, oh, we're literally using their logo. We're using their name in our Instagram account username. So we both think to ourselves, we do need to change it. So we didn't think we would get in trouble, but we didn't. So that's a good thing. But we
yeah,
had to change it immediately.
yeah. And then some ups and downs we went through. We got really crazy happy where we just kept DMing like every single podcast, which DM'd you guys too, saying let's do a humongous collab, and we DM like 7 podcasts would equal 48 people in the podcast, and our smart brains were thinking, how are we gonna manage a podcast with 48 people in it? And how is it even going to be an hour? If we're going to do that, it's going to be like 3 or 4 hours. And nobody wants to stay in a Zoom call that long, and it doesn't last that long. So we're thinking to ourselves, man, we need to shorten this down. So we're like, how about this? We go one by one. We do each podcast. We do it smoothly. And then we did, Circle Debate, which are really nice guys. Everybody go subscribe to YouTube and follow them. Like their comment, comment, and all the share. They're great people. I would suggest you do like a collab with them. They're great people. Then we went to Crash and Burn yesterday. And then we looked at your account 2 weeks ago, and we're like, man, this guy has 3,000 followers. That's really big for like AW podcast because the community doesn't really follow podcasts like for that.
Hmm.
And we're like, man, this guy's doing his thing. I mean, he literally met TJ Perkins, if you guys don't know. And then we didn't even know you did a Brian Cage one until like I think 2 days ago. I didn't even know. I was just scrolling through your account because I really wanted to interview you and do all of that. Just have a good talk of wrestling because all three of us are wrestling lovers. And
I also did Evan Bourne, Matt Seidel. I don't know if you guys saw that one. That one was huge
Yeah.
for me because,
Yeah.
I'm around that generation of WWE fan, and Matt Seidel was
Yes.
probably the first cruiserweight that really, impacted what now is the cruiserweight division, since he was like the small guy, but the quick one. His whole thing with
Mhm.
Kofi, that was really cool, and that was really awesome.
yeah, so we ran into you, and we're like, you know what? Because we're young, we're like 14, so we're not we don't really know about this type of journalism. I'm definitely I've gotten into journalism. That's going to be my major when I do get into college. That's my big thing. So I'm like, a podcast would be great. Doing that media stuff would be great. Interviews, that would be great because I want to get into the news scene. And so I'm like, this guy's doing interviews. He's big. That's cool. So I'm going to DM him. And I don't want to bother him because I'm asking a question. But, how do you get these guys to, like, DM you back and email you? And I remember you just said it's a long process. And what is it? Let me go to the DMs. It's, yeah, it's.
You just said like it's a lengthy process, and it's usually hard to get them all.
Yeah, no, I really liked what you said because I reread it and it really inspired me. Wait, where is it? It's
I'm gonna tell you this, guys. If cameras were off and like this was backstage, the amount of stories I could tell you. Like you brought up Preston Vance. I've been talking to Preston Vance for over a month already, and if I'm sure he told me the same thing he told you guys. But like,
Oh yeah.
it's crazy. It's crazy, how we're the ones who are going through this, and I've got so far and got nowhere to points where who knows what happens. Like right now, I put up. I don't know if you guys saw it was the most recent stories that I'd done. I was like, who do you guys want me to interview next? And I posted a story between Eli Drake, Colt Cabana, and I just said that.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, and one of those guys came through. One of my friends hooked me up with that. Like, it's unique because it is a long process, and but you have to understand this. There's so much talent that you should never be upset or stressed on this one person. Like, I interview 20 people a day. Like to me, I'm a wrestling fan, so I want everyone's story. Just like literally, as a fan, just like you guys, I'm on my phone yesterday, and I see. I don't know if you guys know who the Von Erich brothers are, Ross and Mark.
Oh yeah, they're in MLW, and I know the father, and he probably had a few other brothers. They already passed away. Rest in peace to them.
There's a story to that. Yeah, and they followed me yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I just got a follow, like accept. Yeah, so it's like even to this day, it still blows my mind. And just because they follow me doesn't mean like I'll DM them and they'll respond to me right away. It's such a long process.
Yeah.
And we'll get there. It will eventually.
Yeah.
We didn't really know what you meant by a long process because could it mean like it takes a while for the media for that wrestling company to answer you back, or does it mean like trying to talk to them? And we finally got that when we were thinking about Shanna because we didn't want to interrupt her because it was already nice of her that she was already DMing us back and answering us and liking our messages. So we didn't want to bother her until we got people coming on our podcast because we were lucky to even get her in the first place because she was one of our first 8 followers when we first started.
Yeah,
yeah, guys, that's awesome. That's really awesome, guys.
Yeah, so I'm gonna keep going off what I said before. You said, yeah, extremely long. It's a game, and you got to play it. So I'm like, you know what? This guy is truly thinks that like this is it's a long process. And you know what? I thought, dude, none of them are gonna answer their DMs, so I'm gonna have to hit straight for the email. I was totally wrong. These guys are answering their DMs and not answering any emails. Like I think I've sent over 100 emails to like all the wrestlers we contact from Ring of Honor, Impact, and AEW, WWE, but only Hall of Famers. And out of all of them, I only got 3 emails back, and I got like 15, 20 DMs. So I was really confused on that. I'm like, these guys have like thousands of followers, and for an email, I think emails are more business related than a DM, and I was really shocked on that. So going on more of the road, the bumps and the hills you had to climb, we were getting a little trigger happy, so we're asking people who wants to work for us. and we weren't thinking of it like, why would we ask that to somebody? And so we got a co-host. His name was Ethan, and he worked with us for a couple podcasts, and we were gonna do our first Zoom podcast, and we
Didn't work.
yeah, it didn't work out. So we stopped working with him, and then
Well, but before we stopped working with him, we thought we could get like an editor because he came on our live and said that. But then we realized it's also a 5-hour difference because he's in England, and we didn't want to put that much stress on him because we like to do 30 to 40-minute videos usually. And he told us that it would take him 12 hours, and that also being a 5-hour time difference, we didn't want to put that much stress on him. So
and then going through a lot of other stuff, we have like at one point we had like 20 people a day DMing us like weird shit, like can I please work for your podcast, and then like spamming us, and we block them, and then they come back on like 3 different accounts. Like one kid came back on his mom's account DMing us, and I mean it's really weird what goes on in this community, especially for follows. And so like going through all of that, the podcast, I'm gonna ask a question, and then you could go through how you started this podcast and what you've been through during it. How long have you had this podcast, and how long did you have your YouTube, and how did it grow? Like from 0 views and 0 subscribers, how long did it take you to grow your YouTube and your Instagram?
So yeah, it's funny because I'm using my own words. When I said it's a long process, I really did mean it. Like I wasn't trying to give you guys a vague answer, and then like if you like, let's say you guys didn't get the memo, like you just told me, you should have like, asked me again. I would have explained it to you because I'm not the type of person. So like, just not answer. I want to help out as many people as I can. So with this process, like I said, it was a very long process. How this was all a plan from March. My birthday is in March, and in March I got so many birthday wishes from so many wrestlers, and I was like, I can really do something with this. I don't have to, go for a job that I don't really love, but I have to do it to support your family. You should always be able to follow your dreams. You should always go to college and have a backup, but you should never forget your dreams. So I told my friend Jason, who no matter where he is now, helped me out, and I would never be anywhere without him. We did this together. We did 3 or 4 or 6 episodes together. And from there I go, Jason, I'm not really trying to talk about wrestling. It's just, not my thing. I want to interview wrestlers. He understood, and, he also had his own things he had to do, and he's the one who actually quit on me. But we're still friends, and I understand why, and everything is good from there. But a lot of people message me. They're like, where's Jason? What's happening? Because we had solid fans. It's amazing how we posted one video and we got 20 subscribers. And these 20 subscribers message us every video. Awesome communication. I love how your side is different than his side, this and that. And me and Jason, we knew that, we're in this together. So the first 1,000 followers on Insta was all with me and him. That was all done together. That was when it all started. And like you guys said, you follow people. We wanted to do that, but then we decided that we wanted to pause a little bit, get some videos, and then do that. So when people follow us back, they'll see our videos. And I'm sure you guys did the same thing, basically, because when you guys follow people back, you probably had content to show for it. So we decided not to do that. And from there, we just got 1,000 followers on our own. But our thing is, we follow everyone back. You follow us to follow you back because we support each other. I don't find this rule where you follow me and I won't follow you. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I understand celebrities. I understand why they have to like have 30K followers and then 1,000 1,000 following. Yeah. I understand that. I don't need that. I get all my information from my fans. I get everything from them. So I generally just go, you follow me, I'll follow you right back. And some of them could be like bots that just want to follow back. And some of them are genuine people who message me paragraphs about how they, like, God bless me and how I'm giving them, hope and this and that. And you have no idea. Well, you guys do. Just people who are listening have no idea how it feels to know that what you're doing, everything you're giving up, all the time you're putting up, for them, for this, it's all that. And that's how it'll happen. It happened to 1,000 followers on Insta. Then I went to Twitter, and since like I said, you don't have Twitter, I'm at the same rate, 3,000 followers, 2,000 followers on Twitter as well. But and the same, following rate too. So it's very unique how everything is matching up. My Twitter to my Insta, everyone, it's the same people that follow me on Insta that follow me on Twitter, and from there it just grew on its own. Subscribers go every day. I don't even check anymore. I'm not the person to like look at my subscriber list every day because it happens. It happens. Like some videos go up to 1.5K. Some videos can go up to 200 views. You just gotta wait the process out because at the end of the day, if you're a fan, you'll look up the wrestlers. Like you said, Brian Cage. People look up Brian Cage AW every day, and at one point, someone's gonna look and be like, interview Brian Cage. Click on that, and there's another view. It's all time,
Yeah.
and with all that, there's so much stress in it that you guys understand, and then there's also the high of it where it's like you're doing something and it's a huge impact.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm just gonna go off what you said. Like, adding, like, of course, a lot of, and like we're expected to get a lot of views in the next month. Anthony Agogo is making a documentary and going on like the live television to like all across the country for like the UK, and people are gonna search him up. And I actually searched him up on a different account, and just Anthony Agogo, and we are the fourth like video to pop up. So like people are gonna search up Anthony Agogo interview or Anthony Agogo, and they're gonna look for like that, and they're gonna find us. So but also adding on, yeah, like you said, fans don't get it. I mean, there's highs and lows to it. I mean, we're putting in so much time and effort to this, and it's taking up our day, and we don't know what we're gonna do because we're still making it, doing this, but this is just quarantine. I mean, we're kids. We're going into high school. I mean, there's grown adults doing these podcasts. They have all the time in the world except work. And yeah, there's work, but you guys, they have time to do it. We have school. We have homework to do. We have all that to do. So, I mean, they don't get it. We have lives too. We're not just making podcasts every single day, 365, 24/7, 7 days a week. We have lives too, and that's the problem with it. I mean, you got to still keep up with everything, but also do these podcasts. And adding on to that, the high of it, like hitting 1,000 followers on Instagram, having like when we started lives, seeing like 300 people active, like that's our blood is rushing, like seeing that. Man, we have like 3,000 people that are 300 people that actually care about us, like fans. We actually have fans that, and like you said, people that DM us, like sometimes people DM us saying, and especially the podcast saying, "Oh, can you give us some advice? How to get followers? How to start this podcast? How to do everything?" And we love answering, like you said. I mean, helping out and following back is our number one priority, and also putting content out to the fans. We don't care about the follows. We do care about the follows and the fan version, but we don't care about gaining the follows. We don't care about like getting famous. We care about the fans. Care about following them back. We care about hearing their stories. We care about like talking with them, and during that's the high part. I mean, that's the fun of what we like to call now a job. This is our job. I mean, we're working every day, doing edits, doing emails, doing all of that. That's the high of this.
Yeah, and Trent knows I'm not the social type because when we're at school or when we're at home, I don't talk to that many people, even though I'm friends with a lot of people. I don't talk to many people, and I'm not very social, as Trent knows. But when we started this podcast, we were wondering how long it would take before we were noticed, and Trent knows I've had a few other like small businesses in my past, and I do go all out, and most of the time it doesn't usually work out like that. And my idea originally, and Trent already had to shut it down automatically because it was stupid, and I even know it was stupid, was to make a website that probably nobody would see anyway. So we were just curious on what to say, what to do on each podcast, and usually usually I know a lot about, everything that's going on. And so does Trent, because he calls me every hour to tell me about this, and I call him every hour to tell him about that. So we just like to keep fans of wrestling informed. And when we going back on our previous subject, when we did change our name to our to Times of Wrestling, we also put in thought to it, because these are the times of wrestling. So we just like to put that out there, and we just want to inform fans on any latest news that we can get, because we are fans as well. So we know what goes on in wrestling fans' minds. So we just like to put that out there and give them all the information we know of.
Yeah.
Yes. So going off of that, like Jordan was saying, yeah, that's really important to us. I mean, starting it off, all what Jordan was saying is really important to us. We started off slow, and then we gained, like, I think our biggest day was probably 2 weeks ago when we gained 300 followers in one day, which was like humongous for us. Like, I think we got a message from a new follower message and follow back message every single like 3 minutes. Like, I timed it every single 3 minutes. We got a new follow, which was annoying, but it was very like inspirational. I mean, seeing us grow from it's just like 14-year-old kids that had a dream of making a podcast, and now we are allowed to call this our job. I mean, we're working on the clock. We work. I mean, I have to go on my computer every single day, checking emails from other wrestlers, from other people emailing me. I have to check our DMs. I have to check up with some fans, with some wrestlers, because we're not doing this just for the interviews. We want to, like you said with TJP and Brian Cage, we're trying to like talk with these wrestlers. We're trying to like grow a bigger bond. We're trying to know what's inside, like what their hobbies are, what they like to do, all of that, and that's really important to us. I mean, we really care about that, and I don't think a lot of people get that. A lot of people, fans, just think, man, these kids are just making podcasts. That's easy. That's easy. It's not easy at all. I mean, like you said, Eric, did you say that you started just talking about wrestling?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we're doing that. We started doing that. And you know what? It gets boring because when you talk about wrestling, the only thing you can do is make it on like when the wrestling show is on. So it was Tuesdays and Thursdays. So we're like, you know, we need to get into a bigger business. That's when we checked you out. We're like, we got to DM this guy, see what he's talking about. And we're like, hey, we gotta start interviews because that's gonna get us more follows. We gotta start talking with the community of podcasts, and we are. There's people across the world doing these podcasts. You're in Brooklyn. There's people in Italy that we're gonna be doing podcasts with. Guys from London, guys from California, South Carolina, Washington, or Florida. I mean, that's the best thing about it. The fans, the people, the community, the growth. All of that, it's just like it makes us want to keep doing this every single day, and we hope we could keep doing this during the school years, during everything, and we hope to keep this for a long time. Yeah. So what are your Jordan, what do you have to say about anything of this?
I just think I'm hoping wrestling does go on because not many people really saw this, but at the beginning of this pandemic, like late March, when it was announced everybody was going into quarantine and everything was shutting down. If you watch AEW, you probably saw Kenny Omega saying we probably don't even know if there'll be a Dynamite by next week, and we're just so thankful that there was more content to be shown, and they were allowed to show that content because it does bring hope. And as long as there's content to show, there is content to say. And I'm just very thankful that there what is content to talk about that the fans want to hear and everything. So I'm just very thankful for that.
Yeah. I mean, we get that during this hard time with not even knowing your safety or not even knowing what you're watching will end with everything going on. I mean, we really don't know when AW is going to air. I mean, like, they could shut down. I mean, they have all the money in the world, but at the end of, well, not all of the money, but they have billions of dollars they could put in. And at the end of the day, they're renting out an NFL stadium, and they're doing all of this stuff. And yearly, I think it's like millions of dollars they have to rent this stadium out for, because they're doing like they're spending time. They're paying these guys. People have to show up. Plane tickets. Trust me, with those plane tickets every single week, that's a lot. Backstage equipment. Again, getting the stadium. That's just like, we don't know if they're gonna stay during this quarantine. They could be done for, and that just really scares me. And it's definitely not that, like, seeing AW, like, if they go down in the ground, I really wouldn't be happy with that, because then I'm gonna have to move the Impact or Ring of Honor, which I don't have a problem with. But even if those go down, which I think AW is a little bit has more money than them, I'm gonna have to go back to WWE, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that at all. I don't think you guys want to do that either, don't you?
No, I don't.
Yeah, none of us want to do that. But it happens. You got to go through it, and that's life. So yeah. Eric, do you work by yourself, or do you have like a team?
I have a team. We do as much as we can. I'm definitely the face, and it's not something that I decided to do. That's just how they put me with. I'm the person that responds to emails, the one that sends out emails. I have an editor and I have a business manager, and these are all friends. And I know the saying, don't work with your friends, stuff like that. This is all favors. I'm not paying any of them. They're just in this with me because they're supporting me, and that's just all all you need when you're giving a lot of stuff up.
Yeah, I mean, we all definitely need help. I mean, you need help when you're running a podcast, and that's why we have Jordan. That's why we had other people, but we realized we could run this by ourselves, and we could do this by ourselves if we just put in the time. And we have to put in time. I mean, we're definitely. That's really stupid. When you do the interviews, do you get like triple booked for a day? Like we got triple booked for like 3 days in this week, so that's crazy. So does that happen to you when you do interviews?
I try not to. I never got triple booked. I got double booked for one day, but there was, I will tell you this, all of April, every day from April 1st to the end of April, every day at an interview, every single day.
Wow, that's crazy, man. That is,
And that's happening to us, because next week, like, there's at least half the week we're double booked, and pretty soon we're gonna be triple booked, because we're already realizing that we're getting a lot more wrestlers to say yes to doing our podcast than we imagined, and we don't like having them to wait, because we know they have a life. We know that they wrestle for a living, and we know that they're doing us a favor. So what we try to do is we try to fit them in for the earliest as possible. So even if it means we have to wait on asking them to do a podcast with us, we will do that, because we don't want to make it seem like they had to wait forever to just do a podcast with us.
yeah. I mean,
Like I said, what I do is I interview them, and in 2 weeks the interview goes up. I don't rush it, but there was that one point where I had more than I can handle, and I think you guys know exactly how that feels. But organization is key, and it's easy to get through.
yeah. I mean, it's definitely hard for it to happen. I mean, it's really difficult for you to book people, because with AW, I guess during these hard times, they're not allowing people that are signed to do interviews. Even though we did Anthony Ogogo, but he's not wrestling, so I think we're allowed to do him. With Preston Vance, did you do Preston Vance?
Yeah, I got Preston. I spoke to him. We never really had the go for it because of AEW.
Yeah, same for us.
Yeah. But if you look at the guy he is, the future is really bright for that. So
yes.
Yeah. So because we really weren't. Yeah, because we DM'd him. He said yes. I would really I would love to do it, and then we had to go through, because we went through awmedia at gmail.com 3 times, because Aubrey Edwards we were gonna do. We wanted to really do her. They said no. Preston Vance said that they're not allowing him to do the interview. I guess AEW's blocking them all off, which really sucks because we could have gotten so many interviews if AEW didn't block them off. So we had to kind of adjust the Impact and then Ring of Honor, which we're doing now, and we have not got any response from any Impact or Ring of Honor wrestlers. I don't know why, but yeah, I mean, dark wrestlers are really easy to hit up because.
Have you messaged Chris Bay?
Not yet. I think.
No, we have. I messaged.
Yeah, Trent emailed him and I DM'd him, but I don't think we still have gotten a response from him. But there were rumors before he signed with Impact that he was going to go to AEW because he was about to sign with AEW before he got that that contract from Impact, and that's how I really got to know who he was because I saw him on like a few independent wrestling shows on YouTube, and I started thinking he has an amazing future ahead of him no matter where he is. So I was hoping that he would say yes, but we're still waiting on a response from him.
Yeah.
It all takes time. He's definitely the type to respond to his. And here's the thing: I'll be honest with you, if you did it this coming week, like if you DM'd him this coming week, it's probably his busiest week.
Yeah.
Because of all the celebration, of all the stories and everything, So I will just wait a little bit. I have friends who do other podcasts, and they definitely messaged him, responded to them. He's the type to definitely respond. He's all for this. So just definitely try again in the future.
Yeah, because I mean now he's a busier guy. I mean now he's the champion. I mean I don't know if he's gonna answer in the next 1 to 2 weeks because I mean now he's like a big guy. Like he's the big around AEW now, or not AEW Impact. So we're gonna definitely have to wait. I mean on his story he posts so many. I think he has over 30 posts about like congratulations, and that also explains he's a really like cheerful guy. I mean he's reposting every single person's story. Like that's just so humble for a champion. You don't see people in WWE. Don't even get me started with them. You don't see people in AEW. You don't see any Ring of Honor. You don't see anybody do that where they're champions and they're gonna repost every single. Like any single person that says something, they repost. That's really cool of a wrestler, of a guy that like is famous now. I mean, his Instagram's gone up by like thousands probably already from people watching, and that's just crazy. Yeah, but it like you said before, it is a long process. I mean, we DM'd Griff Garrison on Monday, got a response Thursday. I mean, it takes a while, but it's to everybody that's watching, especially podcasts. I don't know. I definitely think Eric, you would what is it? What's the word? You would
agree. Yeah,
you would agree with people everybody that's watching this, especially podcast, should get into interviewing. I mean, it's big. It is you get to talk to them. You get to know them better on a personal level. You get to know the inside scoop of things. You get to know their hobbies, what they like to do, what they don't like to do, their favorite wrestlers, their backstory, their obstacles. I mean, anybody that's watching this that wants to start a podcast, hey, look at us, man, and look at Eric too. I mean, did you just start this year, right?
Yeah, it was this March.
Yeah, that's like how many months? 5, 6?
Yeah.
5, 6 months. He's already at 3,000 with 500, almost 600 subscribers on YouTube. We're at 1,000 just starting this month. I mean, just look at it. You guys could anybody watching, you could start a podcast, and I'd be happy to help. I would be happy to help with anything. We could definitely shout you out. We could help you with like interview stuff, but definitely for people that do have podcasts right now for wrestling, join in the interviewing community. I mean, it's big. Like I said before, you get to know them. It's fun. It's a fun experience. It's like blood rushing. You get to get responses from famous people, which is really cool. I mean, they might not be famous in the outside world, like to regular people, but to WWE or not WWE, like wrestling fans, that's huge. Like getting answers from Anthony Ogogo, who was a 2012 Olympic gold medalist, that's huge. Like it gets the blood rushing. Getting messages from Brian Cage, like getting him on a podcast, that's huge. Alan Angels, which is another big thing. TJP or TJP, TJ Perkins. That this is all just big, man. This is big. So yeah. We're gonna wrap it up. It's been an hour and a half almost, so I'm really happy with this. This is really fun. I'm just gonna share my screen just to show one more thing. So yeah. So I said this in the beginning, but many of you, like I do, sometimes skip in the beginning of the video because I already see the title. So for the people that watch at the end, hopefully don't skip this. Please don't skip this if you hear me right now. I'm talking to you through the screen. Do not skip this. Go follow Times of Wrestling Podcast at Instagram. Go look at their YouTube. Same thing, Times of Wrestling Podcast. And Eric gave us a suggestion, and we're going to take it. Jordan, or go follow us at Times of Wrestling Podcast on Twitter. And go follow me at Trent, at owner of Times of Wrestling Podcast on Twitter too, to get the latest things. Get to hear some rumors, get to hear more, go into more depth of people we're interviewing, and some tweets about who wins matches. That would be really cool. So, and then we're going to go boop, and then we're right here. Yeah, so here is All Real Wrestling Podcast, ARWP for short. Owner and host Eric Novak. Please, everybody go follow him on Instagram, and go follow him on, you know what, Eric, do you have any other... Can you shout out any other social media platform you have?
Yeah, just YouTube, you know. If you click on the link, they can see the YouTube channel, and there, you know, there's so much content there. And, you know, Twitter is the same thing as my Insta, _ARWP_. Like I said, I follow everyone back, and, you know, it's just countless support is all appreciated.
Yeah, guys, go follow him on YouTube, road to 600, and definitely road to 1,000. Getting that big cash, guys, getting to 1,000. And, yeah, road to 4,000 followers, too. And on Twitter, how many followers do you have on Twitter?
Same thing, 3,000.
Oh, wow. So, yeah, get him to 4,000 on both platforms and 600 on the YouTube platform. This is going to be a little annoying, but we're going to go type in here. And this is our sponsors. These are our sponsors for today's video. This is our little quote. They talk like dummies, walk like dummies, act like dummies. They are true dummies, and they're famous skit person. They make great skits. Young people make great skits. The videos, the friend group. If you don't follow Dummies Gone Wild, then you are a true dummy. And I have to agree, Jordan. If you're not following, you're a true dummy, man. True dummy. So
yeah, I mean, like, we, like, our sponsors, they teach you to act like dummies. They act totally like dummies, but really, if you're not following, if you're not watching every little second of Dummies Gone Wild, then you are really a dummy.
Here it is, everybody. Here it is. If you're not watching Dummies Gone Wild, then you are a true dummy. Everybody, please go watch them. They are great. They have their website at their link. And one more thing to post. Yeah, that's the YouTube thing I wanted to search up because we're trying to get to 1,000 too. So everybody go subscribe to our YouTube. We're going to go to Shop AW. We are not sponsored by them. We wish. But we do want to shout them out because, you know, they had the best merch. I'm definitely going to buy the Sue with Trent shirt. They have Orange Cassidy. They have the new All Elite Wrestling shirts. And they have the Fight for the Fallen shirts. They have new SCU shirts. So all the fans of SCU, go get that shirt. We have Chris Jericho, Bubbly, Demo God. We have Darby Allin, which just returned and hit Brian Cage with a skateboard. I don't think Tony Hawk would like that, but you know what? We don't know Tony Hawk. MJF pedigree. I'm better than you, and you know it. And then my favorite shirt, Best Friends, Trent's mom. That's great. Matt Hardy multiverse with Party Hardy on all of those shirts. And then finally, this is the last thing we're going to talk about until we go to the out, where we just say bye. These, I know, $13 masks, pretty expensive on the market. They usually go for $8, but these are the best shirts. We got Freshly Squeezed. We got Penta Zero mask. We have Cowboy Shit, Hangman Adam Page. We have Matt Hardy, Delete, and we have Kenny Omega Terminate mask. Get these masks. They're great. They're good. They're at a good price for like wrestling, and then design wise, that's really nice. And yeah, so we're gonna end it off here, guys. Remember, I'm gonna say this one more time. I know it's pretty annoying. I said it like 4 times. Go follow ARWP on Instagram, Twitter, and then their YouTube. Go follow us at Times of Wrestling Podcast. Same thing for YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. Go like, comment on both posts. Eric, are you gonna be posting this on your Instagram?
Oh, of course, 100%. I'll promote this.
So go like both of it and comment. And yeah, we're gonna wrap it up here. Thank you for all watching. This is a long podcast, so I don't know if you're gonna tune in for the whole thing, guys. Hopefully you do. Yeah. So that's really it from us.
And thank you, All Real Wrestling Podcast.
Yeah.
Especially Eric Novak of the team.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you. Thank you for having me on.